Hey guys, welcome to the MLR podcast episode 2. I am joined here by AdmiralJones42, Dom Dunquette, Stone Steel, Mattis, and Timland is here. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Hey guys, welcome to this episode. We're going to be talking mostly about Session 6 and also the beginning of Session 7 and the predictions. So,
safe sex.
Guys, welcome to the podcast.
We'll also be talking about safe sex.
Yeah. I need a good description, so I was like, let's just put that in there. And I have this really shitty comic. If you can't see it, if you're not looking at the stream, I put together a fantastic comic for today.
Oh, Lord. I haven't seen it yet.
In typical MLR podcast, title card sort of thing, sort of format. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about Session 6.
Oh my god.
I think we need to address the elephant in the room and say a good game, Mattis. We got fucked.
That is one way to put it.
Yeah.
I umped this game.
You did.
The fastest game in MLR history, despite being 8-4.
That's what happens when you set down 15 Phillies in a row.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, Timland talking shit over here.
Dude, we versed the two better Nats pitchers and did pretty well. And then we versed the guy with the worst ERA that ended up being traded to the Blue Jays, and he ends up kicking our ass. So that's fake baseball for you.
Yep.
What, are you trying to say I'm a garbage pitcher? What the hell?
I'm saying small sample size suggests that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the numbers in the beginning they have.
Well, to be fair, and I'm pretty sure I said this last week. To be fair, I'd have to go back and look at the exact numbers, but like probably something like 5 out of the 7 runs that he's allowed have come in like 2 innings.
Yeah,
like he's run into like 2 innings where he got hit, and then other than that, it's been pretty much gravy.
Yeah, he seemed like that type of pitcher. I found it really funny when me and Hunter we were going through the trends for Tim, and we found nothing, like absolutely nothing that was like a legitimate trend. And like we were like, well, that must be his trend. He does nothing. Except we found one thing. And that was that a lot of his
33.
A lot of his numbers ended with 33. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Okay, Cambo, you have to bat 33 to lead this game off, or lead the game off for us. And so first at bat, 0 difference. It was all down to
And then Tim's in my DMs. Tim was in my DMs for the last like day of the game, just like, oh, I know what I'm doing for the last pitch. And it gets there, and he's like, all right, it's going to be another 33. I'm like, dude, you are gonna get homered off of again. Like, I guarantee you they're going to guess it. And he's like, I don't care. Just do it. He's like, okay.
I told you. I agreed with you. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, he literally told me, he's like, yeah, they're probably going to hit a homer off of this, but whatever.
Right, so
you got two 0 differences off the same number in one game, which I don't think will ever happen again unless somebody intentionally does it. I think his days of throwing water.
That's what he wants you to think, and then he throws another one. But we had that game. We had the 8-4. We also had the 10-1 with the Diamondbacks and the Tigers. Was that it? 10-1.
Yep.
Yeah, we had that. We also had the 9-4 with the Nationals and Pirates. So there was there's a lot of high scoring games here, and I think a lot of our predictions were not high scoring. So that was pretty surprising here. We had a good week of fake baseball here. And also
the Diamondbacks blowing out anybody they played.
I think we had them winning. We didn't really have
a
blowout.
I had them just. I said they were going to obliterate Big Tuna for like an 8-3 win or something.
You got to
I feel like we're going to do that to the Jays, but
shut up. All right, but so we had that. I'd also like to take this chance before we start to announce that as of now, just for the sake of not giving ourselves a workload for no reason, the World Cup is going to be put on hiatus from this point on. We don't know.
Put on an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, we don't know when we're going to start it. We still might start it in the near future, but I'll just let's focus on focusing on the MLR itself and making sure that games go smoothly. And I don't think we need to add 6 extra games a week.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was
Take it easy.
I was looking forward.
No, I just spilled a bunch of fucking fried rice on the floor. God damn it!
Ah, damn. Have fun
Right onto my carpet.
Ooh.
Okay, well, okay, so what else? What other games were there? The Mets lost, which was sad because I remember them taking the lead.
We lost.
Yeah, the Orioles were
Led
they
off
led-
the game with a solo home run, and they still lost.
Yeah, the Orioles led 3-0 at one point, and then they lost 4-3. That was pretty good.
That game was
I think we need to start
bomb-on.
playing a new game on this podcast, which is called "Which One Oriole is going to be the guy on the team that does something this week?"
Which, no, what fucked us that game was the list that came in. I think we would have won that game if Tiberius was actually still in, because he had like a really, really cookie cutter pattern. He was just going low, middle, high, low, middle, high, low, middle, high. So that's all we did the whole game. It was like, wait a second. Okay. Do this, do that, do that. Okay. We grounded into a double play, but that's okay. And then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Johnny just hit a home run. Oh my god.
we still have a 3-0 lead. Oh, we still have a 3-1 lead. Oh, we still have a 3-2 lead. Ah, shit.
And I was telling him, he was like, I don't know what to go with, because he was like, I could go with like 800. And I was like, I feel like 330 would be a good bet for this. And it was like a 15 difference, and I was like, oh shit, boy.
Yeah, we had that. We had 2 games there. What else are we missing? We're missing 1 more, I think, or 2 more. Twins.
Astros.
Yeah, Twins and Astros, where Timber basically solidified himself as a pretty fucking good pitcher to start this.
Yes, I agree.
We weren't sure about him to start, but with the second start and really only gave up 1 run at the very end, which was really sad.
The league leader in average game score, although Hudson Quinn is pitching this week for Minnesota, which means that Tim will lose his eligibility for that stat until he pitches again.
Damn. Hey, you're right. Yeah, Quinn's pitching. We'll see if
It's going to be every time we go over a multiple of 3 in terms of games, you need to add another start. So right now it's minimum of 2 starts, but once we hit session 7, it'll be a minimum of 3.
So we had Twins and Astros. That's it, I think. Athletics and Braves.
You mentioned the Mets game already.
No, A's Mets. Braves played the O's.
Oh, yeah, Tiberius. Yeah, we were just talking about that. But yeah, it was a pretty nice week of fake baseball. I guess it was a nice week for some people more than others. Now the National League pennants looking a little less up in the air. We got we don't have a 4-way tie anymore, is what I'm trying to say. We've got the Braves and Nationals up top now. And American League has 1 person, which is the Athletics.
Although, I'm not sure how much longer the Athletics are going to be.
Yeah. The A's only having 1 pitcher, I think, is going to come back to haunt them eventually.
Yeah, I think so too. Shark's good. He's not the best. He's definitely not the worst.
I've been trying to sign pitchers, but nobody responds.
Well,
I think that Shark is, I think, better than people realize he is. He's been flying under the radar a little bit because he hasn't really been awesomely outstanding any given week. But I think he's been turning in like pretty above average starts pretty much every week. And he is currently, I believe he's currently on the leaderboard for ERA, possibly WHIP, and for average game score. So he's pitching really well, consistently.
Fourth on ERA, on ERA right now.
It's like a three-way tie for third in ERA, I think, between him and Whit Bass and Big Tuna.
Big Tuna's off. Not after that 10-1 game.
He's tied for third in WHIP. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, I was thinking of WHIP. So yeah, he's tied for third in WHIP. He's tied for third in ERA. He's tied for first in innings pitched, and he's got 4 wins, and he's on the top 5 for average game score. So I mean, props to that guy. He's pitching his ass off. He's just turning in consistent performances week after week, which isn't necessarily going to get you attention, but it'll get you results, which is what matters.
Okay, so I guess we should. You guys have any other things to say about Session 6? You got any other comments regarding it?
Not really.
I have some comments, but I don't really want to rub it in.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this is the turning point for the Jays. I think Session 6 was just the beginning, and I think Session 7 against the Athletics is when we're gonna start taking over the AL.
So that's pretty bold. I guess I wish you the best of luck, though. I like your team. For all things considered, I actually really like your team. I really like Stride. Stride's my bro. Even if I tease him about being an ISIS supporter. that's my new meme right now. Just pretending to be an ISIS supporter to piss off Stride. Because I just like put flag as an emote in his Discord, because I was like, because there's flags for every country, and I was like, why not make one of the flags ISIS? So I put it in one day, and Stride got really mad with me. So I decided that every single time I bring it up, I'll start copy and pasting the ISIS song, the Sali Swahili. It's so bad. I love it.
Well, I gotta say, I like your team too.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And hopefully our game, our team can get a little better if we can get this 6-person trade going, this 6-team trade going.
Are we allowed to talk about
that? I think if the Blue Jays want to totally turn it around,
I need a pitcher. Hit me up.
You're not in the 6-team trade unless we make it 7.
Hit me up.
Please
hit me up, boys.
I just want this done by tonight.
I'm raring to go. Let me trade someone. Let me at the hot stove.
I think if the Blue Jays want to really turn it around, they're going to have to get some of their players in the cages and start working on their strikeout problem a little bit. Because despite the fact that you guys pretty thoroughly shellacked the Phillies this week, you still had a player record a paper sombrero. So, and you have 2 players now with double-digit strikeouts. The rest of the league has none.
I'm not sure how long those 2 players are going to be here.
And that was ominous. And in terms of totals, you have 12 more strikeouts than the next worst team, which is the Nationals with 31. You guys have 43.
Oof.
So
we've got a new catcher, and I know he's been in the bullpen with us pitchers already. So
I love that guy. Seriously, I hate how he lost out on him. I really hate how he lost out on him. He's really cool, and he's a lefty, and that would have been really nice. I mean, I'm happy with the catcher we have now.
Is that Holden Rider you're talking about?
Now we're talking about Michael Voorhees.
Oh. Bad insomniac.
Yeah, Holden Rider went to the Twins, which I think is a good pickup for them.
There's only one team with a worse. Now that I'm just looking at stats now, as I do. There's only one team with a worse strikeout to hit ratio than the Blue Jays. Who do you guys think it is?
Washington.
Mets.
Yeah, I'm gonna say New York.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that one.
I don't know why you would guess Washington, considering Washington has the most hits in the league.
I don't know.
It's Minnesota. Minnesota has 28 hits and 28 strikeouts.
Oof, 1 for 1.
Toronto has 45 hits and 43 strikeouts.
So let's say about 12 of those strikeouts disappear soon. Does that make it better?
God damn, dude.
Here's a scenario. I trade the entire team. And then we have no strikeouts. Boom.
You also have no hits, though, so the ratio is still going to be bad.
It works out. It's fine.
Hey, you can't lose if you can't play.
Exactly. You can't lose if you don't have a team to win.
I think the Blue Jays would be a lot worse if they didn't have the amazing singles ability of a certain Thomas Berry.
I have to concur with you on that.
Who has yet to see an extra base hit, but's too busy holding up at first.
Not just an extra base hit, I think a walk as well.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Yeah, his average OBP in slugging is just 500, 500, 500.
How many singles does he have?
9 out of 18 at-bats. That's a 500. Yeah, that dude's dealing when it comes to right now. He's been pretty good for them.
So, are the games supposed to start tonight?
Whenever the 16 trade goes through.
Yeah, we'll do it regardless of if that trade goes through. We'll be starting tomorrow. We're not gonna be holding up games for things like that. Just if we don't have to hold up games, we're not. I'm gonna quickly turn off my heater, so talk amongst yourself for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
I shook my lineup a little bit, and I feel okay about it.
I submitted 2 different lineups. One for if the 6-man goes through, one for if it doesn't.
That's actually a really good idea. I just don't have lineups at all yet, so whatever.
I need to get my lineup started.
I put somebody who has been struggling. He was high in the order for a while because I really, really wanted to believe, but I still feel good about him. I had to move him down because we can't have an average that poor in that spot. So
I did that with Kyle Mack. I was batting him, I think, first. I think I was batting him leadoff. I started putting him in the 6th, and the first game I put him in the 6th, he delivered a walk-off hit, and he walked.
That's what Johnny did, so I rewarded Johnny by picking him up because I think he's been one of our consistent hitters lately.
Yeah, up until session 6, I had 2 strikeout machines in my 4th and 5th spot, and then I moved them down, and well, we all know what happened there.
Struck out more.
Well, actually, they got their first hits, but
besides that,
same thing. All right, but that was session 6. It's looking pretty good for session 7. So I think we should start going through the list of games, talking about some matchups, and seeing what we think would happen come session 7. I think we did a pretty decent job at that would be going on. So let's see if we can do it again. So I think we should start with our first game, which is going to be a very interesting one because we got a team that has two wins in a row versus a team that I think has like 4 wins in a row. But I mean, both are looking pretty good right now, and that's the Twins and the Braves. They're going to be umped by our lovely Garen Smudge in his first ever umped game. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, let's discuss this matchup a little bit more. So Dom, what do you think is going to happen with this game?
Just give me a sec. Let me.
do we know who's
So
pitching?
Twins at Braves.
It's Hudson Quinn versus Tiberius. Yeah, it's probably Tiberius.
No, I might have just ratted out the Braves to the Twins. I like what the Braves are doing. They can, as displayed in the last game, they can get back into games late. And I think the Twins could take this if you can shut down the Braves throughout if you don't let up and you step on their throat, you can win games against the Braves. But if they find out what you're doing and they read you, you're gonna have a tough time beating them. I think if they can get some early pressure on Tiberius and maybe Mr. Mr. Holden Ryder can do something about Tiberius this session. And
Hey, I'm not sure if Tiberius is starting, to be honest. It might be Carver. I haven't seen the lineup. It could be Matt Carver, though, which would be very interesting. They've got 2 lefty pitchers on that rotation, which is something that I don't think we can see from any other team. But yeah, I don't know if it's Tiberius. It might be Matt Carver. So what do you think if Matt Carver pitches? What do you expect from him?
If Matt Carver pitches, who is also a lefty, but a strikeout lefty, I think... How many contact bats does Minnesota have? Not many. I think if Carver starts, it's probably gonna take Minnesota by surprise, and Atlanta can jump out to take the game. But if it's Tiberius and Minnesota can get some early pressure, I would put this as my upset of the week.
How far do you think the upset's going to go? What do you think?
I'm not going to say much because the Twins haven't really been an offensive juggernaut this year, amassing a team total of 8 runs. So I would say it would probably be something along the line 3-1, 3-2, maybe 2-1 victory for the Twins if they can jump out early. But if Minnesota can't get early pressure, they're going to have a tough time beating Atlanta. You have to give the Braves the advantage in their late game because that's where they strive.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that, and I personally see a new pitcher like Carver, and I'm very intrigued by him because as a lot of you might know, I like a lot those 0.00 ERAs, so I'm definitely going to be cheering for Carver if he comes in. I'd like to have another Timber in this league. I like those young pitchers who are able to come out and start very successfully. It's very healthy for the league to have these young stars. So I'm definitely, if Carver pitches this game, I'm definitely excited to see what he could do. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta has a lot more bats when it comes to Twins versus Braves, but I mean, it's hard to write off this Twins team because they have the heart to just against all odds eke out some wins. I mean, reversing a struggling Astros team that really was having trouble producing runs, really had trouble producing game completions. They were just always just barely falling. So I think they were able to take advantage of that opportunity and beat a team that they were supposed to win. I mean, that was with Burr, that was with Timber, and now we're seeing Hudson Quinn pitch, a guy who I think we could all agree does a lot better when it comes to closing situations and relief situations. I think he's way more comfortable when it comes to grabbing the ball from another pitcher and finishing a game out. This game could be very interesting. I think Quinn's been very good for the Twins, but I think that Carver, if he's, Tiberius has been very good for the Twins, for the Braves. I'm sorry. The Braves probably don't want him to be good for the Twins, but Tiberius has been very good for the Braves. We have Carver here who could make something against a pretty small offensive threat like the Twins. So I think the Braves could pull this one out and win. I would say 4-1, to be honest. I think the Twins don't show up here. But how about you, Mattis, if you're available? I know you're muted, but
I am available. I'm just stoking the fires.
Stoking the fires.
It gets cold up here right now. So
I imagine. So what's your opinion on this game?
I gotta say, I was looking at the Twins, and their offensive production has not been great. And then they are running up against a guy with a 0.00 ERA if he pitches. So I'm not sure if he is, but if Carver pitches, I feel like Atlanta's definitely got this because the Twins aren't going to be able to score. He has no patterns. We don't know what he does. He can do whatever. And then if Tiberius pitches, a pattern might have been found out by the Orioles. I heard a little something about that, so that might be dangerous. But I think, all in all, I got to give it to Atlanta because they're a much more potent team in runs and pitching. Although I do believe Hudson Quinn can close out any game.
Yeah, okay, so we've got it seems we got one for that upset. I mean, it seems
I said it could be. I said if Carver
just covering your
pitches,
tracks.
I said if Carver pitches, the Twins are gonna have a tough time. I don't really. The 8 runs is very, very scary to me, but it's possible in my eyes.
I think that offense is able to spark something that we just have not seen it yet. But they just drafted so well. They could be getting new, very, very nice hands when it comes to the 6-team trade, and that could very well boost their numbers. I think we need to remember that if this trade gets in before the games tomorrow, it could be very interesting. But I want to turn this conversation over to Osmosis, to Admiral here, and see what he has to say about this.
So I am back. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was gone for a bit there. So I apologize if that was awkward at any point. Okay, so the thing is, I'm kind of going to assume that Carver is going to appear in this game. Whether or not he starts, I don't know. If not, I would have to assume that Tiberius gets the ball again. Tiberius has been really good. There's not a whole lot of other ways to put it. He's, I don't know, would you call him the leading candidate for the NL Cy Young right now?
I would say so.
I think he's definitely the most consistent and all-around balanced pitcher in the league, at the very least. So the guy's getting results, and the Twins' offense is still bad. So because of that, I'm not super confident in the Twins' ability to get anything out of this game. It's just okay. I picked the Twins last week against the Astros.
But, well, that's the Astros. I mean, completely different beast.
Well, okay, I don't want to be busting out. I don't want to be busting the Astros nuts too much either. But the Braves are probably the number 2 team in the league right now. And I'm not even going to say probably. The Braves are the number 2 team in the league right now.
It's not as much as the Astros are bad as much as the Braves are.
The Braves are really good. They have one of the top 4 offensive attacks in the game, and they have the leading Cy Young candidate for their league pitching for them. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like they're a really fucking good team. They've proven now on multiple occasions that deficits mean nothing to them. I mean, they came back and walked off the Orioles after being down 3-0. They have at least one win. They have at least one win in extra innings. So this team is, in my mind, pretty fucking legit. And I look forward to seeing more from the Braves. I definitely think they win this game.
Do you have a score to offer?
I mean, it does depend on who pitches for each team. I mean, Hudson Quinn's going to be throwing, which I am going to assume he's going to be okay. I don't want to be down on Hudson Quinn until he shows weakness with Minnesota, which he hasn't done yet. So maybe the change of scenery has turned him around. So I'm going to say it'll be a moderately scoring game. I'm going to go Braves win it 3 or 4-1.
I've noticed, like, as we've continued this conversation, that it might be a little hard for us to discuss these teams without mentioning possible trade candidates here. Like, I'm looking at these rosters, and I'm like, okay, so I can't mention that because it's not official yet, and we don't know what's going on. So, yeah. But I don't think that's going to be trouble for Stone Steel, who does not know any of the trade details. So, what do you think about this matchup here, Stone Steel?
Whoa, the segment where I won't get talked over. I guess.
Wood Bass just said when the podcast starts without me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I guess the first thing to mention would be Minnesota's got 8 runs, which everyone has mentioned so far pretty much. But I think the biggest thing to notice on top of that is half of their runs come off of solo home runs. Personally, I think that unless Carver goes out there and he just gets completely blown up, I don't see a win condition for the Twins if Carver goes out there. Like, at least if Tiberius goes instead of Carver, they could do some sort of analysis, right? Even though Tiberius is pretty good, like there's a lot.
He still has a point. He has a point in that I think we've seen a lot more. We've seen a lot over the course of the season. I think we've seen a lot more positive results in debuts for pitchers than we have negative results because they're new and we don't know what their patterns are and we haven't seen them before. There's no tape. We can't study them. So for the most part, we have seen some pretty dominant debuts from pitchers, and not a lot of rookies have gotten blown up.
Like, the power of scouting and even just looking at previous performances is really strong in this league. I hate to jump back to the last topic or anything, but going back to the Pirates game in Session 6, even what 4 runs that, well, not all of them, I guess, but some of the runs that the Pirates did manage to scrounge together was just based off of scouting. And there wasn't even a lot of data to go off of, and it was still huge enough for a 1 difference to lead off the Pirates. So,
You got a score here?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be low, 3-1. Basically, 3-4 to 1-0. One of those 4 scores, because I just can't see Minnesota winning.
Okay, wow.
So he's taking the under on 7.5 runs in this game.
Yeah, this seems like
Yes.
an easy decision to some who are not named Dunquette. Anyway, let's go to our last.
I don't know. I like the Twins, man.
I do too. I don't blame you for that. I really like the Twins. I like their team. Right, let's go to our last.
I never said their team was bad. It's just there's not a lot of
I love the Twins. I just want to see them. I want to see them score more than 2 runs before I pick them to win games.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go a little off the beaten path and say I expect more of a higher scoring game, just because, as people have kind of touched on, the longer it goes, even the really good pitchers in the league are going to have more and more information out there against them. So at some point, somebody's going to take advantage of Tiberius. Is it this week with the Twins? Maybe. Who knows? I'm going to say...
It happened a little bit last week.
Right, exactly. I mean, my team, the Blue Jays, we scored 8 runs. The Diamondbacks scored 10. It was a pretty big offensive breakout league-wide. I mean, the Nats are still the Nats and scoring on everybody, so that's not going to change. It wouldn't surprise me to see a 6-4 style game, but I'd still probably give the edge to the Braves. But I don't think it's going to be low scoring.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a different narrative going on there, but overall it seems like the Braves are seen to at least edge out the Twins. I personally agree with that. Yeah, so it seems like we've got a pretty good consensus with that game. Hopefully, well, at least in the Twins' sake, we don't really have a Twins spokesperson here. Pie isn't here, so I guess we'll see how that game goes. But on to our next one, which is Phillies at Astros, which is going to be a pretty interesting game, I think, personally. but I guess we can go on to Dom and see what he thinks about this game.
This is one I feel like I have a pretty good beat on. I'm going to give this one to the Phillies easily because you come off losing to a team that has only scored 8 runs this season. As a team, they're not batting extremely well. They're not batting necessarily terribly, but it's not the best. They have a lot of players who haven't gotten hits yet. Well, not a lot, but there's 2, and then there's ones who who don't seem to be able to get on base very often. And it's not like Mr. Willoughby Hoos has been pitching the greatest season of his life. Whit Bass is solid for them. They both pitched 18 innings, but
Go for
our
it.
2-3-3. Oh,
Somebody needs to up for a second because we have some breaking news.
Craig, you went through?
Garrett, to accept this. I'm not gonna be able to read all these trades, so
What are the what's
I'll sign it. I'll announce it.
Hold up. Wait.
Hold on.
Wait.
Something.
Never mind. Can't do it yet.
Wait, what? We're all just like talking about nothing here, and people are like, what the hell?
Nobody knows what's going on, but Garrett just said he wanted me to announce it during the podcast. So,
I'd like to announce one thing, and that is that Mike, despite having edited it, he just called the D-backs the D-bags. So I think that's a pretty good breaking news.
yeah.
Trying to cover his tracks. But is this not good? Should we just pretend like this isn't happening right now?
Let's just pretend this hasn't happened.
All right. Sorry, Bubonic Narwhal.
Go back.
Because he currently was in the live chat, like freaking out about this. It looks like we're gonna have to.
Hopefully, some of the Pirates' good players got traded.
All right, but where were we? You remember where you were on this game?
Yeah, I was saying the Astros aren't really a offensive powerhouse. Their pitching isn't awful. Like their batting, it's not terrible, but it's not good necessarily. Like they're not high strikeout pitchers. Whit Bass has been solid, but both the pitchers are 1 and 2. They're coming off not a bad loss, but they're coming off a bad loss to not a great team. And then they're coming into one of the top teams in the league. It's hard to bet against the Phillies in this situation. They're probably going to take it. Probably a 5-2, 6-3, got maybe even 6-2 victory.
And I'll give my opinion, but I think it's official enough for me to announce this trade. I don't think the problems brought up are legitimate. I think it's all situated pretty well. If not,
it's definitely that concern is definitely not legitimate.
Yeah, I figured. I'll go down the list. So this is a trade involving the Phillies, the Braves, the Diamondbacks, the Twins, the Blue Jays, and the Pirates.
I was so ready to get in on it too.
Well, maybe some other time we'll do a set. We'll do one during the trade deadline.
Let's do an 18 trade. I just want to swap teams.
All right, so first is the Philadelphia Phillies send first baseman Jay Lupp to the Atlanta Braves. In return, the Atlanta Braves send second baseman Gil Metz. The Phillies send third baseman Ron Eagle. The Twins send center fielder Victor Justice to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays send left fielder Daz Reference to the Twins. Send third baseman Miguel Snow to the Phillies. The Diamondbacks send second baseman Trey Rangers to the Braves. The Atlanta Braves send fielder Forrest Gleason to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays send pitcher. Hey, what's going on?
Scroll down.
Stop announcing. Hold, please. While we sort out this next problem.
What is this next problem? I'm scared. I want to go into Discord.
Okay, fucking. I guess I'll finish the stuff that's done, and we can deal with this later because it's at the very end. So
Okay.
we'll cut out trades involving this team. I don't know, but Blue Jays
Just cut out
sent.
the last one.
All right, yeah. The Blue Jays send catcher Burt Macklin to the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Arizona Diamondbacks send left fielder Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Phillies. The Phillies send right fielder Rory Nipponsteer to the Pirates. The Pirates send right fielder Cookie Froster to the Diamondbacks. The Blue Jays send first baseman Louis Fleming to the Diamondbacks, and currently we have a final part of this trade that's apparently not quite done yet. So
I'm just gonna start moving players on the spreadsheet. I don't care.
Yeah, move all the rest of them for real.
I'm gonna do that.
If we just cut off it happens.
I'm working on it.
All right, so that's the trade. For the most part, we've done it. If you weren't in this trade, you might be breathing a sigh of relief. You might be cursing people out.
I know I'm being contacted, but I can't really share what I'm being contacted for.
Ooh.
Oh my god! I just saw
break some drama on the podcast.
Jesus Christ! I just saw this string of trades. Oh my god!
It's a pretty big trade. Hold on, let me fix some.
The Twins only received 2 players in this.
I mean,
Johnny
the Jays
Hopkins
only
just
received
said,
2
I heard
players.
maybe half the trade details with the mic constantly cutting out.
Really? Was my mic cutting out?
Not to me.
Not to me either, but it might have been with the stream.
I don't think it was to anyone in the podcast. Who knows?
What's the beeping noise? Cut that out.
Yeah, Hopkins said that.
Here, I'll go speed mode real quick here.
You do it. I'll try to figure this out.
Just by team. Phillies that are going somewhere else. Jay Lupp is going to Atlanta. Ron Eagle is going to Minnesota. Rory Nipponsteer is going to Pittsburgh. Braves. Gil Metzer is going to Philly. Forrest Gleason is going to Toronto. Twins. Victor Justice is going to Toronto. Miguel Sano is going to Philadelphia. Blue Jays. Daz Reference is going to Minnesota. Burt Macklin is going to Arizona. Luis Fleming is also going to Arizona. Cookie Froster from Pittsburgh is going to Arizona, and Arizona is sending Trey Rangers to the Braves, Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Phillies, and that's it, I think.
Okay, so I think that problem's gone. If not, I guess in playback this will kind of suck.
Oh well.
Yeah, we'll see how it sounds. I mean, like, if you guys hear me fine, then it might have just been OBS. So
Yep. Just move on.
Yeah, it might just fix itself. But anyway, so I guess we were in the middle of Phillies at Astros, and I would like to start this. I'd like to start this prediction out with a quick prayer to the gods of baseball or fake baseball. Yeah, I really don't want to lose to the Astros. I feel like the baseball gods are looking at me with a very evil frown right now, like a very evil grin. I think they really want me and my team to lose to the Astros. The Astros are in a free fall right now that is despite their fantastic pitching from Whit Bass. Whit Bass is a very, very good, just a gem on this team that has really run into some issues. They have a few very decent offensive pieces in this team too, and it's not like Willoughby Hughes is something to shake a stick at. I mean, he's been a pretty decent pitcher. He's been very active, and I mean, he's a lefty. I mean, we always talk, or at least I always talk about lefties having a disadvantage. So, I mean, his ERA it's pretty middling when you compare him to most pitchers in this league. So he's not a terrible pitcher, and he's had some very good starts. So I don't see this being a routing. Actually, just for the sake of psychology, I'll give this one to the Astros in a 7-6 win because fucking baseball gods. I'm I'm not gonna.
Do you know who your starting pitcher is this week?
That's a good question.
It's gonna be.
You sent Mr. Oliver Yu out against us, and he did not last very against the Blue Jays. Rather, sorry, I apologize. You sent Oliver Yu out against the Blue Jays, and he did not last very long in that game. He was seen leaving with a potential oblique injury. Last I heard.
Yeah, I saw Kean Davies reporting on a possible issue when it came to his arm. So I'm probably gonna rest him. I'll start Syhad because even if I know Oliver Yu and I know that he's had a lot of success starting in the same way that Hudson Quinn has had a lot of success ending games. I think Oliver Yu has that same sort of success. So I'll go with Syhad to start the game, but I mean for the sake of not seeming too cocky here, because I definitely think the Astros have a huge chance of just reaming us in the asshole. So I'm gonna give this to Houston a score of maybe 7-6. If they beat us, I think they beat us because this offense, even when we got routed, we still put up 4 runs. I don't see this offense stopping. We have a pretty decent offense that's stood the test of time. Yeah, they were number 1 before shit hit the fan last.
You are now back down to number 2 in baseball.
We work better from that position anyway, but
You're welcome.
It wasn't even that so much as the Nationals just exploded again.
Yeah, that's true. They did really, really well this week. So, at least we're still in front of the Diamondbacks despite their 10-run explosion to tie the lead in teams runs scored, but in a single game. But anyway, yeah, I'd say after 7-6. But let's on to Mattis and see what he thinks.
I just want to give a quick report that the Orioles have been in contact with teams and free agents in terms of pitchers.
I wouldn't know what kind of teams you're talking about.
Yeah, I wonder who.
Don't worry about it.
They'll never take you.
And correspondent, give us a fill-in on what you think about the game.
Well, I gotta say, I fully believe that the Phillies can beat the Astros.
Oh my god.
Hey, I mean, we might have beat them last week, but believe you me, from playing them, I've gained a newfound respect for the Philadelphia Phillies. They are a good team and a powerhouse. I think we got some amazing pitching from Timmy last week, and that's why we were able to beat them. But I think that they're going to beat the Astros, and I kind of need them to beat the Astros because I need everybody in the AL to lose. But there's some more in-depth stuff here. Whit Bass is starting, I do believe.
Oh, it isn't. It's Willoughby.
Ooh, it's Woozy. Okay.
Good lord.
My ears.
Yeah.
Whoever's beeping needs to stop beeping.
I think that's me getting phone notifications from Discord.
That's you.
Yep, that's you.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Anyway, I can't open up my spreadsheet then to look at the stats without opening it up on my phone and getting Discord notifications. So, I'm going to have to freestyle this, I guess. I think the Phillies are going to win off from a good, strong offense. I think the Astros are going to put up a few runs, but they're not going to be able to beat the Phillies pitching because from firsthand, I know how good it is. And even their position players can start pitching, and it's really good. Believe you me, they managed to stop Toronto's explosive offense last week. So, I got to give this one to the Phillies. I think they're going to put up 5-2.
Okay, so 5-2 Phillies. We got 2 for Phillies, 1 for Astros. How about you, Admiral? What do you think?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I do have. Okay. Take a sip of water here. Okay. Houston's skid has to end eventually, as does Detroit's. Both of those teams are on pretty horrible losing streaks, and neither one of them is going to be able to keep losing forever. That being said,
not necessarily true.
We've already seen 3 4-game losing streaks to open the season all happening at the same time. So I don't think that a 4-game losing streak is totally impossible. So I believe that's what Houston's on, right?
Yeah.
Is it 4 straight now, or is it?
What is the record? 2-4.
Yeah, 2-4. They opened the season 2-0.
Did they really? I thought they opened with a win-loss-win. I could
Either
be
way.
wrong. Yeah, it's a long streak.
Either way, they've lost a lot of games in a row, as have Detroit. However, those two teams are, unfortunately for them, both running into buzzsaws this week. And I'm probably not going to pick either of them. I like the Phillies in this game. I think Hoos, it depends on Willoughby Hoos. It really does. His ERA does not impress me. His whip does not impress me. His strikeout totals do impress me. So if he can get swings and misses out of Philadelphia's bats, we could be having a different conversation. Philadelphia, in this trade that they just made, did acquire some guys that do strike out. So they added to their strikeout totals pretty significantly with this trade. So I think with that being said, it could be very possible for the Astros pitching to take advantage of that. That being said, I don't think it will happen, and I'm going to take Cy Had to have a good outing against this Astros team. I'm feeling like a 4-2 Phillies win on this one. But if Hoos gets going, you never know.
Yeah, that's the big question mark here. I feel if Hoos can replicate. I guess his first start was pretty good. If he can replicate some of that magic that he's shown before, Stone Steel, what do you think?
1 second.
You, Timlin, what do you think?
I think I'm going to get on the Houston train, and I'm going to say my fellow lefty is going to be able to give you guys problems for a second week in a row. I'm going to say it's going to be low scoring, 2-1 Houston.
Okay, so
let me just start with let me just start with the fact that he's given up Who's has given up 13 runs, but half of those came in one game against the Pirates. So I think that this is going to definitely be a chance for Who's to return to form. I don't have a lot of faith in Houston to win, but I definitely could see like a low scoring game. It may be like 2-1 or something. Because I feel like a lot of what people are saying in Who's ERA doesn't impress them is from the game against the Pirates, which is just his worst possible matchup. They literally had two lefties at the time. So I don't think it's insane to say that I can see Who's coming out on the long side, even though I don't have much faith in it.
So we have
against the same Pirates lineup, and yet against the same Pirates lineup, Jayyburdd did fine.
I mean, 4 runs isn't a perfect game. I have to say that.
It's not nearly as bad as Hoos did.
True, that's true. Who's just had some more.
Fair
some
point.
More issues. There we go. We have. I guess there was more. There's more Phillies winning in this game. In this poll than there was Astros. But let me get quickly to the next game because I do not want a 3-hour podcast like last time. Well, we're hitting an hour right about now. So let's
hour and a half is probably ideal.
Yeah. So let's go to A's game. So how about you, Dom? What do you think?
I know the GM of the Jays just said that this is going to be a turning point for them. But I don't know about that because the Jays have to go up against one of the better pitchers in the AL and the likely favorite for the AL MVP, Mr. C. Van Vactor, who's just an animal. So I think even with Oakland's not necessarily fantastic offense. I think Salad Shark's going to have a good game. I think Van Vactor, who is he's just ridiculous. I think he's going to have a pretty solid game as well. And I think I'm gonna give this to a power tripping. I'm going to give this to the A's against a power tripping Jays team.
Well, all right. So do you have a score for that first?
I say 3-1 Oakland.
I think it's going to be really difficult because of some disagreements. We might have Van Vactor get a visit in his house where a certain group of fake baseball executives may come with bats and and teach him a lesson. But all jokes aside, I think the Blue Jays. I think they're riding a wave here. I think they showed that Toronto has a little more in the tank than we thought they did, and I don't know. I think Toronto is going to pull this one out. I think it's pretty good. I think that infield that they have is more solid than people give them credit for. I think is Dinka starting. I guess we have the GM. Is Dinka starting?
I can confirm Dinka is starting.
All right, so we have Dinka here. I mean, Dinka is one of the top pitchers. I mean, he's had some troubles, but his ERA is just a little bit over 3. When we see guys like Hughes with ERAs over 4, I mean, he's a pretty good substitute for pitchers like
3.12 after 25 innings is very respectable.
That is in this league, that's very respectable. So I think we've got a good pitcher here that can ward off an Oakland offense that outside of Van Vactor, it's not been good. I mean, it has too many holes. Even after this week, it still has too many holes. And they are the leaders of the AL, but I think with the what I would call an AL renaissance with the Twins and the Blue Jays finding some success, I think this renaissance is going to continue. I think the Blue Jays have what it takes with that infield, with that core of Grams and Honcho and Drew, Lane Drew, and plus their addition of Michael Voorhees. This is a team that's coming out to show the haters that they're not done yet.
I think the Blue Jays have indeed made a potentially significant upgrade at catcher.
And well, it's really difficult not to when you have the guy who has the only cardboard sombrero in the league so far. But
also 10 strikeouts. So
yeah.
But anyway, I think the Blue Jays are gonna get this. I mean, Sal Shark, he's a good pitcher and he has a good amount of strikeouts. So I think the Blue Jays are going to strike out a lot. I don't think that trend's gonna stop anytime soon. But I still think they're going to eke this out, maybe 4-1, 3-1. I agree with the previous assessment, but okay, Mattis, give us your unbiased opinion here.
My unbiased opinion is last week we also talked about Oakland and how Van Vactor is a beast, but he's still the only one hitting for them. Whereas the Jays, it's more of a platoon effort. Because everyone talks about Barry with his 9 singles, but Grams also has 8 hits, and not all just singles. I believe he's tied for 3rd in the league with hits with 8. That's pretty respectable. Sardinka hasn't come out and pitched since the game against Baltimore, where I think I made a mistake and pulled him a little bit too early. And because he was riding a shutout at the time, and then we did choke that game away, but that was my bad because I put a new pitcher in who hadn't ever pitched before and didn't really know what to expect. But I think, yeah. But although I have to give it to Oakland, they're at the top of the AL for a reason. It's not just because the AL's bad. So, okay, yeah, I know.
2 GMs predicting that their own teams are going to. I like it.
No. Oh no, I haven't predicted. Oh no.
Yeah.
The Jays are winning. Jays are winning. But
You're going to give it to Oakland, but the Jays are winning.
Well, I gotta give it to Oakland. They're a good team, but the
Jays are winning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Much. I'm gonna say 4-3 because I think Sardinka, he had a problem in the 4th inning every time he's pitched, which he's gotten hit hard there, but I think that might change this game. But I'm going to allot the guy 3 runs, but I think my infield is going to come in clutch. I think Mike Honcho, one person who's kind of flown everybody underneath everybody's radar. He went 3 for 4 last game with 3 RBI. And yeah, I think the Jays have got this.
He imbues a strong workforce from his name alone, where he had to wrestle that from Pittsburgh third baseman, who's now Wagner, Johnny Hopkins. He had to wrestle that name from Johnny to get the rights to Mike Honcho. So he's a fighter. He has some good numbers. I like that guy a lot. I agree that he's looked over a lot. But how about you, Admiral? What do you think?
Well, I was the umpire of the Toronto-Philly game this week, and I have to say that I was extremely impressed by the Blue Jays' offensive showing. Mike Honcho was an absolute monster in this game. He hit, I believe, a home run and 2 doubles in his 3 for 3. He was 3 for 3 with 3 extra base hits and 4 RBIs. So he was just completely all over Philly's pitching. Tom Barry is out there just slapping singles all goddamn day. Nobody can stop him. He's gonna get on base. You know that. Less than 2 hits in a game is a disappointment for this guy at this point. Graham Grams, brother of Milo Grams. The Grams brothers are currently tearing up the league. Milo is, in my opinion, right now the NL MVP favorite, and Graham Grams is putting up numbers for Toronto all the time. So Toronto, if their pitching is turned around, which it might not be, but it has appeared to be over the last couple of sessions. If Toronto's pitching has turned around, this could suddenly be a contender in the AL. I think Oakland's offense is still yet to show me that they can thrive without huge impact from Van Vactor in a game. Van Vactor has cooled off over the last 2 or 3 sessions. So, he's still going to get on base, no doubt. The guy's still going to get on base. He's still going to get hits. But his power has not been there the last couple weeks. So, I'm going to take Toronto in this game. And I think that Toronto can pull out a 5-3 win.
Okay, so how about you, Stone Steel? What do you think?
I think that a lot of, at least hitting wise for Oakland, what people have been talking about is Van Vactor. It's pretty obvious. He's pretty good still. Although, he did fail to get a hit against Streaker, or Sonny Streaker, who's not particularly a good pitcher. Albeit in 5 innings, not 6. He would have come up in the 6th inning if there was one. I think that there are a couple of guys on this Oakland team that are just underrated almost. I don't think Ziz is too bad. Dugout's not terrible. The main point for their offense is seeing these other guys contribute. And I think that their game against the Mets is a pretty key point to that for me, because it was pretty much all the guys that you would expect need to start hitting in order for them to win, and not Van Vactor. Of course, there's always Sal Shark, who he didn't look too inspiring out there to me, but you can't say he did bad. He only gave up two runs, one off a home run. One was a single and a triple, I think, or a walk and a triple. But I'd like to see what he can do.
Okay, so you got a score here?
I still think that this game is going to be one for the Blue Jays, maybe 4-3 or so.
That'd be very fun to watch, I would reckon. How about you, Timlins, another unbiased source here? What do you think?
Completely unbiased. Is it confirmed that Sal Shark's pitching? I know they just picked up this Jay Schwizzle guy. Is there any chance he gets the start, or are they
Schwizzle
going
has
to go?
been with them for a while. He just hasn't started, so
Oh,
we assume
he just
Sal
hasn't
Shark.
I'm
pitched.
pretty sure it's going to be
Gotcha.
Sal Shark.
Yeah.
Because Schwizzle was there even before the Met game, and he has not thrown a
Well,
single pitch.
I'll take this time then to just tout the Blue Jays because I feel like we have a lot of new energy, you know, coming over from the Nationals and their mean GM, Mr. Frizzle. This has been a fun place to be. And it feels like the energy in the clubhouse has been pretty good. We've got some analytics that we're starting to embrace, and we just picked up a new catcher. So I don't know. I'm going to say that we keep that trend. And while Sal Shark is absolutely somebody that has to be reckoned with, I just feel like I think we might have something for him this week. And I'm going to say we're gonna beat the A's 5-1.
Ooh, wow.
Oh man,
I like that score.
that's a lot of runs.
Yes, so it seems like we have a lot of Canadian fans here that think the Blue Jays are going to win. A few that have thought that the Athletics have what it takes. It's definitely going to be a game that's up in the air. Now, a game that a lot of people might think is not up in the air is Mets and Diamondbacks.
Oh God.
What do you think about this game?
Whew. Man, I said that the Diamondbacks were going to blow out a much better Tigers team that is exponentially better than the Mets. Jesus, this is going to be bad. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as the Tigers game because the Mets know how to play to where they are. The Mets are 1-5, and they're going to play like a 1-5 team. They're going to be cautious. They're going to try and they're not going to take huge chances, and they're going to be very cautious. If they can even if they can eke out a 1-run win, it's still a win. I as a 1-5 team myself, I understand it. You need to keep chugging. You need to keep getting those tiny victories. So I think the Diamondbacks are actually going to take this in a relatively low-ish scoring game. I think the Diamondbacks are going to take this 4-2.
Okay. So I agree that the Diamondbacks have just a great offense that just seems to deliver, except, and this is important, they didn't deliver against a certain 0-4 team, the Minnesota Twins, and they did not deliver. They got shut out. Now, I don't know how much this carries over to the Mets, but the Mets are a better offense than the Twins. I don't think this is as much of a lock as people might think. I think the Diamondbacks are good, but I think they struggle at closing out games against teams they should win against. You see the Astros, even though it was the beginning, I mean, the Astros have shown themselves to be struggling. The Diamondbacks have lost against the Astros, and they lost very embarrassingly against the Astros in the last inning. So they've lost against them, and they've lost against the Twins, and they got blown out or not blown out, but they got shut out against them. I think that Sonny Streaker is not as good of a pitcher as Burr, which I think could play in. I still think the Diamondbacks are going to win this, but I think it could be a close game. I think it might be 3-1, 4-1, maybe even lower, 2-1. But I think the Diamondbacks are just going to pull this out against the Mets. I think is getting better after just a lot of troubles in the beginning, especially with Ramicus or I guess Grey Goose McGillicuddy now just leaving, and then they had Sid Kidd just get blown out his first start. They finally found some pitching stability, and I think they could hold off an otherwise pretty underrated Mets core by to about 1 or 2 runs. So yeah, I would say about 3-1 with them.
Well, I gotta say, like last week when I thought that Arizona was going to win big, I think Arizona's going to win big again. I think Sonny Streaker, while being a good pitcher, his ERA speaks for itself. I think it's a 4.27. I can't check because I don't want the beeping noise to come back. but I'm gonna say think around 4.27. And
Not good.
4.26.
4.26. I was kind of close. Anyway, so I feel like the Arizona Diamondbacks have shown they're such a high quality and high power offense that they're gonna win. And then who's pitching for Arizona?
Did they give a lineup yet?
I'm not sure.
I know a few teams have. I don't think they have one up yet. I would assume it's Einhorn.
Okay, so he's pitched well. So I think give it to the Diamondbacks. But
I think Einhorn is a safe assumption.
I think it's going to be offense is going to win, and the Diamondbacks are going to win it 7-4 because I think the Mets are going to pull some runs together.
That's pretty respectable. I think the Mets have a good offensive core. But how about you, Admiral? What do you think? By the way.
I think Einhorn is a pretty reasonable guess. I would assume that he's going for the Diamondbacks this week. That being said, I like Arizona in this game because Einhorn is a very impressive pitcher.
It's hard not to.
He's been really all over people since he came up in the league. He's leading the league in ERA. He's leading the league in strikeouts per 6. The guy's been a monster. And what, they're going up against the Mets, really? Like, am I supposed to pick the Mets to win a game? Are you serious?
Not really.
I mean,
The Mets have one good. The Mets have one good player. His name is Pip Squires. The rest of the team is.
How about
James Meso could be something. Xavier Crowbar is all right. Xavier Crowbar is all right. James Meso could be something, but he's not. The sample size is still low for him. He still has a small sample size. Pip Squires is the only guy on the team that has put up impressive numbers, and yeah, I want to see more. I mean, they're the only 1-5 team in the league. I don't know what you want me to say.
Set one of two. One of two, unfortunately.
They're the only 1-5 team in the National League. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah. I
I
picked
don't want
that
to
up.
talk about it.
So, how about you, Stone Steel? What do you think about this game?
I think coming into Session 7, with the history of the teams that we've had, there are only really 4. Maybe you could argue Tigers and Nationals is a kind of in the air, but there are only 2 games where I could see either team winning. Twins Braves, that one. I still think it's going to be the Braves, but I think I can see the Twins winning that somehow. A's Blue Jays, I think that's going to be the Blue Jays in the upset. I really don't see the Mets getting anything off the ground. Like, they're really uninspiring, except for Squires. It's kind of like what Admiral said. What do you want me to say? The Mets are just a bad team. They managed to put 2 runs together against the A's and squander the lead. This is good. I think it's going to be a blowout, personally. Like maybe 10-1, 10-2, maybe 10-3 if they're lucky. Like, I don't think there's a lot to say about this one.
Has the possibility of even breaking the single game record of 10. We've gone to 10 runs. We have none that have gone over. So maybe the Diamondbacks could really just put the nail in the coffin here and show that they can score more than that, and that'd put them in the history books at least until somebody breaks that. But okay, how about you, Tim? What do you think?
It's more of the same. I think this is a really bad matchup for Sid the Kid against Arizona's roster. I mean, or not Sid the Kid, excuse me, Streaker. Assassin Panda more than likely is going to add to his league-leading home run total, and it's 9-1 would be a good bet, I think.
To the core of the of the fantastic Diamondbacks lineup, which is
I love them, but I think the Mets are somehow going to contain them. I don't know why, but I just have that feeling.
Yeah, it's the same feel. It's the same feeling of when
it's a trap game. You know what I mean?
So when the Blue Jays beat the Phillies in the way that they did, I feel like this is. I don't want to write this off at all in any accord.
Yeah, it's a trap game for Arizona. Where if there's a game that they're surprisingly going to lose, it's going to be this one because they come off a dominant win against the Tigers. And they look at the Mets. Mets are 1-5. Oh, no big deal. We're going to crush the Mets. We're going to go to next week. They might as well forfeit. We might as well just look at next week. And that's what gets them. They're going to be overconfident. And if they're too overconfident and they get a little ballsy, they could lose this game.
Really have nothing to lose here. If they lose, everyone expected them to lose. But if they win, it's like, oh my god. So it's like a win-win situation for them because if they lose, like it's okay because nobody expected them. So like nobody's gonna be surprised. They're not letting anybody down here. But I mean, it definitely seems like an interesting. Definitely seems like the Diamondbacks have the.
Oh, and then we get to the game that I want to talk about.
Pirates and Orioles. Take it away, Dom. I just want to hear you talk about.
All right, I'm gonna have a little thing to say about this. The Pirates are one of two teams that I haven't been concerned to play this year.
That's just mean.
And that's because I don't know why, but the Pirates, they're not necessarily ridiculous. They're a very average-ish roster all around. Like, not a crazy batting average. Not bad at all. Darth Vader's doing well for himself. Got 30 strikeouts. But he's also got 37 hits against, 21 earned runs. My pitching isn't the greatest.
Just to corroborate your claim a little bit, to back you up here with numbers, Pittsburgh has the most average offense in the league. If you're talking about compared to league average, the league average weighted on base average is 364. Pittsburgh is 366. They're ever so slightly above league average.
Yeah, so they're a regular team. They're a working man's team. You go to work at that steel plant and you come home and you watch a Pirates game. And so I think Pittsburgh, they're not bad. Like they're 4-2, not a bad team whatsoever, as both myself and Admiral stated. They're very average. I think the last two games for us, one was a win and one was a close loss that I don't feel terrible about. The bad part about it is that we blew the lead, but we're showing signs of life. I think 7 out of 8 batters got on base last game, so it feels good. Feels good, man. So I think if we can get to Darth Vader, who's not the best pitcher in the league, if we can get to them, if we can find something, I have my heaviest analytics batters and my most active players in the first half of my lineup. This is what carried us through last game to actually have offense. Guys who got on base, who are acknowledging the patterns, who are coming in, who are contributing to the team, who are really trying to make an effort to win us games. And I think I could have some tips to give Pancakes that could mix up his game, make it a little more difficult to figure him out, especially early in the game, because if we can develop him into a pitcher who's strong for 4 innings, and then maybe you start to figure him out in the 5th and 6th, but it's too late by then, I'm okay with that. Because, like I said, I've been in contact with a couple of pitchers. So my ideal, what I want to do is I'm going to let the league in on a little secret. I want to sign a pitcher, and I want, because Pancakes is such a strikeout artist, he's making art. He's like Andy Warhol out here. I want to convert him to a reliever, and I want to split it 3 innings. So I want to get a strong 3 innings from one guy. Team figures it out. They're like, oh, we know what to do. and then you bring in pancakes, and he strikes out 9 in a row, and then boom, you win the game. But I think Johnny Dickshot got moved up to cleanup this game. I think he's going to have a lot of success in that spot. He's been a real leader in the clubhouse. He's really been stepping up in his play recently. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. But I want to give it to – it's not necessarily a breakout game, but it's going to continue the offensive trend and the improvement that my Orioles have been showing. And I think it's going to be a 5-3 win. And I think the player of the game is going to be Meerkat Timmons.
I'm gonna quickly, before I say my thing, Tim has to leave soon for another thing he needs to do. So I'll go real quick and ask him what he thinks about this game and the next game. So first, Pirates and Orioles, what do you think about this?
I think it's going to be our game of the week, to be honest. I think it's going to come down to the 5th and 6th innings. It's going to be – I'm kind of leaning towards Baltimore right now. I was before that inspiring speech by Dom. But I feel like the AL is actually on a little bit of an upswing right now, and I think Baltimore's going to join that. And I think it's going to be a tie game going into the bottom 6, and they're going to get that walk-off win 2-1. Nothing against the Pirates or anything, but I just think this is going to be one of those low-scoring games, and that analytics that Dom's talking about is going to come in and pay the difference for him at the end. And I think the Pirates, not to be mean to you, Steele, or anything, but I think the average offense is going to come back to bite you in the butt a little bit this game. And I honestly think you might be responsible for that one run with maybe an RBI double or something like that. But
I think if we can shut down Bubonic Narwhal and Stone Steel, we're A-okay.
Right. I agree. That's why I'm leaning in with you guys on this one. And to just jump ahead to the Nats Tiger game, I'm going to have to give it to my former team. I don't think their train is stopping anytime soon. I think it's going to, unless, maybe they get shut down by me next week, but that's just this week. I think they've got it. I'm going to say probably 6-2 Nats over the Tigers. No analysis needed. But I've got to bounce. Thanks for doing this, guys. And
thanks for
good luck, everybody.
Thanks for coming, Tim.
Good luck to everybody. Session 7.
See you soon.
I just want to make a quick comment as to what Tim was saying, the upswing. If you take a look at the averages, Mr. Ryo, the nerve of that guy, he was saying, get back to me when you have more than one batter over 250 average. And even though there's a lot of teams in the league who have like 3 batters who are batting 350 plus, it's ridiculous. I like the direction we're going in offensively. The runs are coming in both the Toronto game and in the Braves game as well. The average is coming up. Like I said, 7 out of 9 batters got on last game. So I'm feeling really, really good about that, because that just means, like I said, last week is exactly what I said. I said we need to get on base and capitalize, because we're hitting home runs, and we're hitting home runs with nobody on. And that's an issue. And what the hell do you know? 2nd inning, Johnny Dickshot, 3-run home run, because we got guys on base. You get runners on base, and then you give those power hitters, give guys who can make big plays the opportunity to make those plays to give you the lead and win you the game.
So we're
first dick shot.
Into an hour and 30 minutes. Let's go through this a little quicker. I'm gonna be very selfish with my thing. Number one, I really want to see Dom get this excitement of his warranted. So I definitely want him to get more of these wins. I really want him to give us these impassioned speeches.
You can't let your team give up.
So,
because 1-5
there's
doesn't mean anything if you 5-1 doesn't mean anything if you don't believe in yourself. 1-5, everything if you believe in yourself. The last thing I want is my team to give up on each other. And we have a tight-knit community and our great captain and good guys, good friends, and it's a great atmosphere, and I think we can win games with that.
So we have that. And Number two, I need the Pirates to lose because
So do I.
I really do not want to lose my bronze pennant. At the very least, we're currently fighting for the bronze pennant. I need, for the sake of my sanity, if we lose, I need the Pirates to lose too. So I'm going for that more win. I think Numer is going to do what Numer does. If Pancakes can get more strikeouts without the walks, I mean, that's what you have to ask for in a pitcher like that. And of course, if Baltimore can get that second pitcher, this could be a very different ball club. So, yeah, I think that Pittsburgh is going to lose here. I don't see them coming off of that Nationals loss too strongly. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Baltimore Orioles are going to get their second win. What do you think?
Well, I actually am happy that you brought up the walk factor, and I'm wondering how soon is the Baltimore Orioles going to get the second pitcher?
Hopefully within the next 8 hours.
Okay. So I was just thinking about that 3 innings thing, or give each one 3 innings, because I tried that actually against Baltimore, and it worked out poorly. So I'm going to give you some caution about that.
The thing is, what I want to do is, because I trust Pancakes with the first 3 innings. That's his issue. He's good for like 3-4 innings, and then he starts to collapse. Nothing against Rob, but he can get those early strikeouts. But those early strikeouts don't mean anything if you're giving up a win late in the game.
That is true. So I think I like Baltimore. I feel like they got good clubhouse energy. I think their GM's a cool guy. I might know him in real life. I don't know.
We totally don't know each other in real life or anything.
So,
swear to God.
I think he's a pretty cool guy.
Jay, I don't think you need to worry about this going too long because I think the Nationals Detroit talk should be pretty quick.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure. How about you, Admiral? What do you think about this game?
This game. Let's see. So we got Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Darth Vader got the shit kicked out of him this week. I wonder who did that.
Boo! Pirates suck.
It certainly wasn't you.
Okay. I'm not coming out here trying to say that I'm a fucking great player, but I'm on a great team, so I'm going to celebrate it with my teammates.
Team account.
Darth Vader got the shit kicked out of him this week. He was proven to be mortal. Baltimore really does have nothing to lose. Like let's be real here. After a game like this week where you go up 3-0 and the other team comes back on you and walks it off, that's one of those games where you go home and you rethink your strategies and you come back with a new approach the next time around. I think this is going to be a wake-up call for Baltimore. And I think that they will be able to go toe-to-toe with the Pirates in this game. I'm going to go Baltimore wins it 4-3.
Ooh. I think the But how about you, Stone Steel, the man of the hour? This is your game. This is your chance. Let's hear it.
Me versus Stone Steel.
As the only person here that has any faith in the Pirates, I'm pretty sure the Pirates are going to win. Excuse me.
I have faith in the Pirates. I just liked it before I could say it.
I admit that Pancakes is really a man of numbers. He's like all over the place on the leaderboard, both good and bad. He's top 5 in innings pitched, Ks. He's got almost double walks on everybody else. 50 home runs allowed. He's in top 5. He's number 1 in earned runs and hits.
Dude, we don't even talk about
first
that.
in losses. Oh,
we totally don't need to talk about that.
Like, I still don't.
Morse code being spelled out here.
Matus is sending out some Morse code signals.
And there you went.
Gotta mute the mic when I do that.
Personally, I hear what pretty much everyone's been saying about Pitt being average. The team as a whole, pretty average, but you know who isn't average? Me. Like,
Randy Numbers
I
ain't
know
average, boy.
I know that Dom said that this is one of the two teams that, or there are only two teams, or whatever you said, that you weren't afraid of. I'm not afraid of them at all.
I was only concerned. The only non-concerned game I had before this was Toronto. It was the only game I really, really felt confident saying we can get a win.
Don't sleep on Toronto. Toronto sleeps on you.
Sleep on Toronto at your own peril.
Toronto sleeps with you and your mom.
Right,
You
well,
remember, yeah.
so it looks like we got a lot of Baltimore hopefuls here.
Wait, I want to give a final score first.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
I think, they do have some parts like Dick Shot. He's kind of a good friend of mine. I think we're going to see it go maybe like 5-3 or so, and then it's just going to come to me in the 6th, and it's going to be lights out.
I completely
Yeah, you're the closer on that team. I forgot you were the closer there. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. I wish both of you guys the best of luck in this duel, and hopefully we come back to some salty bants here in the next episode if you guys are on. But okay, let's go to our final game of the day, and that's what I personally think is going to be the best game of the week, the one that I'm most interested in besides my own. Here's the Nationals, Dom. What do you think?
Nationals. Every day of the week. Tigers have proven that they're not necessarily a bad team, but they don't have success against great teams like Arizona, and that's a really, really mood killing win for the Tigers clubhouse, and it's probably got to be a rough environment in there after that. Yeah, the Nats are just like there's no brakes on that train, and I don't think the Tigers are a sufficient enough roadblock to stop that train. So I'm gonna say that the best team in the MLR is gonna take this with a score of 6-2.
But
Wow, that was. You gonna let this stand?
That's fine.
You gonna let
Talk
this
your
stand,
shit. We beat the
Osmosis?
Braves.
Are you gonna let this stand?
I'm gonna let my team's head-to-head record against Atlanta do the talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Washington's just ridiculously potent offense 6-3 win here.
all right. So I'm a firm believer in Schadenfreude, in that I believe that the Tigers are going to go toe-to-toe with the Nats. In fact, I think they're going to take a multi-run lead against the Nats 6th and get crushed for their fourth consecutive loss. I think that the Tigers, if they won it, I don't think they won it enough. I think the Nats won it too much. They're very pumped, and their offensive numbers speak for themselves. The best team in the league. You can't just be like, okay, this team's the best team in the league. I predict them to lose. It's a team like the Tigers, which have not been good for 3 sessions now. So I'm gonna have to go with the Nats, and I'm gonna have to go for a 5-4 lead, 5-4 win for the Nats. Is from a 4 lead for Tigers in the 6th. So I think the Tigers are going to take a 4-2 lead in the 6th, and I think the Nats are going to just be entirely right. I think the Nats are going to walk them off. Or yeah, the Nats are home, right? Oh, that's perfect. All right, yeah, I definitely think the Nats are going to walk them off. Totally, that'll be fun. You, Mattis, what do you think?
Well, I talked about last week how I'm a big believer in the Nats. I mean, besides the Phillies, they're my favorite NL team, I gotta say.
Ooh.
So, I'm gonna say the Nats beat the Tigers, and they beat them handily, because the Tigers have lost 3 in a row, and there's been a reason for that. That hasn't just happened out of nowhere. Big Tuna is a good pitcher. I would check his ERA, but I don't want to send out Morse code or the beeping to come back. I know he's 3-3. And
His
I
ERA is
know.
350.
Okay, so that's actually pretty good. And then I know they signed a new pitcher recently. Do we know who's starting in that game?
I was told that Bartholomew Masters
He's
will be
starting.
the game.
No doubt about it. He's starting.
Well, then this is going to be a rookie debut then.
Yeah.
So the Nats have no information on the man. So this might change a little bit. But I think the Nats, they were awesome in session 1 with no information on the pitcher they faced then. I think that's just because the Nats are awesome in general. I got to give it to my NL guys over there. Although not as much as the Phillies. Still love you guys too. But I'm going to say the Nats win it 5-2. And that's pretty much it. I think Detroit's going to try to go well, but I think their losing streak's going to go to 4 games, and they're going to have a losing record, I do believe, 3-4. Yeah.
Take it away, Admiral.
All right, I just want to tell you about boys about your Lord and Savior Milo Grams. Second in batting average, first in on-base percentage, third in slugging percentage, first in weighted on-base average, first in hits, first in triples, third in home runs, second in RBIs, first in runs scored, second in stolen bases. Sound like a good player to you?
He's pretty solid.
And he's been doing that playing out of the 6 hole the last, 2 or 3 games. And he's back up to number 2 in the lineup this game, hitting behind the on-base machine, Gene Hennig, who's just hitting singles all over the goddamn place. This lineup is a runaway train. It's not stopping. I don't care who you put in front of us. I don't care if you put fucking Roger Clemens in front of this lineup. We're going to beat the shit out of them. Bartholomew Masters has no experience on this stage, and he's walking into a home game of the best team in the league. So, good luck to that guy. I wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors, if he has any, after we're done with him.
For the league's health, I hope that.
Yeah.
At least he doesn't get destroyed.
I will agree with that. But Jayyburdd is going to go out there for a second game in a row. I do think that it can be a bounce back game for him. I think Detroit's lineup is less favorable than Pittsburgh's was against him. I think Pittsburgh had a really, really nice matchup with him being on the mound. Hudson Hildebrandt got fatigued as hell in that Philly start, as we saw. He did pitch 3 straight games and got beat up at the end of the 3rd one. He needs time off. So Jay did throw against Pittsburgh, which was a far more favorable lineup for that team than Detroit's is. I don't foresee Detroit having a lot of offensive success. And as we've noted, this Nationals team scores, and nobody can stop us from scoring. We scored 3 runs against the Phillies, and I believe that was our lowest total yet this season.
Really?
We've scored 5 or more runs at least 4 times. So let's see. Let me look at we have scored 34 runs in 6 games.
What about the Orioles game?
What?
Was that 43?
Yeah. Maybe.
That sounds right. Yeah, so we have not scored less than 3 runs yet this season. So I think at this point you have to look at the opposing team's lineup and say, can this team score 4 on the Nationals pitching? And can they stop the Nationals from scoring more than 3? I'm going to look at this Tigers lineup and say no. And so I'm going to take my own team. Obviously everybody's going to take their own team. That's just kind of... Yeah, you're trying to reverse jinx the Astros. That's a fair strategy, but it's not really honest per se. So I'm going to take my own team. I think we're going to keep rolling. I'm looking forward to getting our first home win. We are 5-0 on the road and 0-1 at home. So maybe being at home is a curse for us. I guess we'll find out this week if that goes badly. But I'm looking forward to facing the Tigers and heading off to Toronto after that to face the Blue Jays. So
interesting you brought up the train metaphor, because there is a commenter in the YouTube stream right now that pointed out a train with no brakes will catastrophically derail at some point.
That's true, actually. That's a fair point.
In typical Nationals fashion, I'm sure that'll be in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll have a bye on the first round of the playoffs.
If we come in first, yeah.
So, okay, so how about Stone Steel? What do you think?
I, for one, welcome our new national overlords.
Nice.
There are.
Hey, I mean, we're the only team that struck him out. He has to show some deference.
But seriously, looking at this lineup, although, never mind. Looking at the lineup, there are 2, maybe 3 guys that I could see like being real sources of outs for them, like generating multiple outs for them. One of them is fly out. Before I was interrupted by the person I'm literally talking about. One of them is a fly-out machine, which means that he's going to be getting run production, well, RBI production for him, but for his team, run production in addition to his outs. The other two are
go over 4 with 4 fly balls this week.
The other two are at the very bottom. There's Lind Sanity, Donnie Lind Sanity, who's had 1 game. I really don't know what to expect from him. And then there's Larry Wayne, who has a really nice 250 batting average. So I can still see him getting some hits in. Like, I think that this game is probably... Well, I said the Mets and the D-backs was also going to be a blowout. But this one, I don't have a lot of faith in... I don't have a lot of faith in the Tigers, like, at all. So,
Mr. Larry Wayne may have a rather pedestrian batting average, but it also would be wise to remember that he went yard twice in his debut and still leads the league in RBIs.
It's interesting. It goes to show you how complete a team is when you see a 250 batting average in this league and you go, that's not the best. Because if you look at a team like the Pirates, that would be like their for them, I would say. You see like
Jameson Poe and Splash Nelson are both
you see one of those guys, you'd be like, oh, those are guys that are pretty decent for the Pirates.
Speaking of Pirates, I have to go look at Pirates game threads now.
How so? Why?
I have to go start collecting pitches on Mr. Vader.
Oh yeah.
Shit! I knew there was something.
I'm looking forward to umping this Baltimore Pirates game. It should be
that game's gonna be fun. I mean, I'm gonna look out for that one. It's gonna be there's a lot of interesting games with this session, but with that, we're gonna wrap up the MLR podcast. We'll see everyone at the conclusion of session 7 for some more.
Can I drop a little bit of a teaser here before we go?
Hey, go ahead.
Drop it.
So just a quick for whoever's listening or chooses to listen, I'm not going to be talking.
I'm coming for you.
I'm not going to be talking about this in the chat, and I'm going to ask that you guys don't either because it's not done yet. It's going to take me some time still, but me and my interns, me and my unnamed interns in the statistician's office are currently working on developing the first iteration of MLR WAR. So I will have more details on that as I get more work done on it. I've already gotten a lot done on it up to this point, but there's going to be more to do. So I will have more on that as it develops, and just wanted to let people know that is in the works.
And with that exciting news, thank everybody for either watching live or watching later. We'll see you guys in episode 3 after session 7. So thanks for watching.